started interacting with Thika Children's Home during COVID in the year 2020-2021. We actually decided to do something that could be able to create an impact, not only to the center, but also in the lives of the children that are the most vulnerable. We actually transformed this piece of land that you're able to see on my left into a food forest. So we worked here for 4 days. That's doing the primary cultivation, secondary cultivation. Then we did the garden layout and the design. We were able to plant not less than 30 different types of crops on this piece of land. When we came back the following year in 2022, we saw that the farm we had started was thriving. There was plenty of vegetables, plenty of tomatoes and onions, plenty of pawpaws that were supporting the children for meals. And so we were able to sink a borehole at that time. And we also mounted the water tank, which is just quite on my end. That has continued to support the farm, and that's why the farm looks green so far. But since the number of children, the number of beneficiaries has been increasing from 34, the number is now going to 50 and plus. We thought of upscaling in the year 2023, in the month of November. We set aside 2 weeks to transform the land that is now on my right. So we looked for money to come and fence the land. After mounting the fence, we actually slashed the piece of land because it was full of grass. So we slashed all the grass and put it aside so that it can dry and we shall use it for mulching. We did primary cultivation by breaking the land. Then we did secondary cultivation by making sure that we had to separate the unwanted things from the wanted things. We had to get the plastics out, we had to get the stones out. We had to do away with everything that was not required in this piece of land. Then after that, we had to construct an instrument called an A-frame, which we moved with the A-frame to determine and design the contours, to determine the contours and to design the contours in a land on this landscape, so that we could be able to construct ditches or swells that will go a long way in helping to control erosion here and to sink as much as possible the surface runoff into this piece of land.
The beds are all on contour, and the reason that that's the case is because when the water falls out of the sky, it may come for like 3 weeks or a month, and then you won't have any rain for like 2 to 3 months. And so we catch as much of the water as we can in the ground, on the earth, because the earth is the greatest holding storage capacity of anything that we can build, more than tanks. The earth is our greatest storage facility for water. And if we put the water in the earth where it belongs, then we don't have as much erosion, we don't lose the soil, we don't have to work so hard for watering the plants. And the plants grow on their own, especially during the rainy season, and then when the dry season comes, it's time to harvest the food, and then we can do a little bit more work, and then we can harvest the perennial systems instead of just the annual systems. If there was more water infiltration landscapes and more gardens and shambas built in the design for holding and storing that water in the earth, there would be a whole lot less flooding in the cities, there'd be less flooding in the countryside, there'd be less flooding in the Samburu and the Maasai areas, and the water would stay, and the grass would stay green longer, and the cattle would be healthier, and the goats would be healthier, and everything in nature would be healthier if we just held on to the water. But we've always designed the systems to get rid of the water because it's a pest or it's a nuisance, and then when it's all gone, it becomes the greatest valuable commodity in the world, and people are struggling to have it when they don't have it, and then when they do, it's too much.
Ended up with the planting, and during the planting, we've been able to introduce different types of crops. So we've introduced fruit trees, especially the grafted mangoes and oranges, avocados, and other fruit trees. Then we've also been able to plant, to introduce bananas, especially in the ditches where more water will be collected, because these are water-loving crops. Then we have also introduced different types of vegetables, tomatoes. We have also been able to set up the nursery beds for the tomatoes, onions, and vegetables, which after 1 month we shall transplant them.
The reason that we primarily focus on food forest instead of just annual agriculture is because when you're growing crops for this year or this season, you're only thinking about yourself in the short term. When we look at the moringa is the highest food source of vitamin C and on the planet. It's got iron and calcium. It's touted as the world's food to end hunger in the tropics. And we also have like macadamia nuts and grafted avocados and mangoes and bananas and cassavas. The more diversity you have in your diet, the healthier you are as a human being. If you're just eating maize, if you're just eating rice and beans, you're getting a limited amount of nutrient uptake.
The borehole we drilled, we are using electric power to pump water into one single tank. So during this time, we've also been able to mount a 3,000-liter water tank to support the new garden as well. We've been able to start and expand the small nursery, a tree nursery. So we've been able to start a tree nursery. And this tree nursery, we have been able to teach the boys and the staff on issues related to grafting, so that finally this tree nursery can be one of the income generating activities that will go a long way in supporting the center going forward. We've been able to buy the pyramid gardens, which we would want to introduce at the center, because one pyramid is able to feed 10 people during the dry spell, if it's well managed. Apart from that, we've been able to set up both poultry and rabbit system, introduction of small animals into the system. So we've been able to set up very good cages for the rabbits and a banner for the chicken. And this will also support the nutritional value, will add the nutritional value to the diet that the boys are enjoying. So I want to thank everybody that has been able to support.
I've helped to facilitate the 2-week program here with the Practical Permaculture Institute of Kenya, installing the food garden. I've put in the water tank that you can see behind me, and I've expanded all the plumbing, and I've helped in the tree nursery. I've worked with the children here, and I've helped to design and implement the new garden that's just been installed over the last couple of weeks.
We've also had students coming to learn from other schools and other places.
I came to Thika recently to learn about permaculture, and we have spent all the days here together, almost more than 2 weeks, and I have really enjoyed the skills. Surely this knowledge is going to help my community in terms of knowing how to grow their food in a systematic way that is going to generate income to the community, and it can reduce poverty. Because in our communities, many people, they have a lot of land, but they don't know how to utilize the land systematically. I'm grateful that I'm going to share these skills with my community, and hopefully I'm going to raise my community from the poverty level to another level whereby they are going to shine. Taking care of the soil is taking care of our bodies too.
What we are trying to do as PPA Kenya and Scope Kenya is to make sure that we are able to create a food security system in the country, but mainly through schools and colleges, because we believe that the best entry to the community is through schools and colleges.
If you were to ask me why this is important, these young gentlemen, these young boys here, they've They come from a place of real hardship. Many of them don't know who their parents were. They don't know where they're from. They are brought here. They have no place to go afterwards. And the most important thing that they can do is learn how to take care of themselves, learn the skills necessary to grow their own food so that they can learn how to make an income and learn the value of their own lives. Because each one of these children is incredibly important, and they're all such intelligent and vibrant and beautiful young humans, that they all deserve attention and that they all need to learn that they can do anything that anybody else can. They just need to be given the opportunity and to know that they have the skills and the intelligence to do it should they choose to. There's a food shortage going on in this world. There are thousands and thousands, if not millions, of starving people. And the best skill that anyone can learn is to learn how to feed themselves and take care of themselves. Otherwise, we become dependent on the institutions, on the governments, or we just end up in jail, or we end up eating the food that's produced by factory farms, which causes cancer and unhealth, makes people fat and gives them diabetes. And we want people to be healthy and strong and intelligent and learn how to take care of themselves, because otherwise we're all just slaves to our government.
So I want to thank everybody that has been able to support us in any way. And I also want to thank the teachers and the staff of Thika Rescue Centre and the boys who have been able to work with us tirelessly for 2 weeks non-stop. So thank you so much, and looking forward to see a thriving and a lush-looking farm that will be supporting a feeding program for the boys. Thank you.